April 25th, 2021, an historic date in the world of professional wrestling. A night indelibly etched in the annals of time. Two men, two phenomenal athletes, two world champions from two globally recognized companies. Impact Wrestling World Champion Rich Swann and AEW World Champion Kenny Omega went to war, head to head, and the stakes couldn't have been any higher. It was title for title.
One of the most anticipated evenings in our sport's rich and decorated history is here. Rebellion.
Rebellion, arguably the biggest match of my career.
My mindset during Rebellion? Simple. Win, win, win.
I believe I came out there and I proved why I deserved to be in that match.
What I do comes to me easily. It was just a matter of showing the world that yes, I deserve to be champion. Not only my own promotion, my home promotion, but anywhere else, anywhere that I choose to see fit.
I have known Rich since he was a young kid. I knew better than everyone else how talented he could be. On his best day, there was no one better, and that includes Kenny Omega. But the chips didn't seem to fall in Rich's favor. See, everyone watching that match may think Kenny Omega was just better than Rich Swann and beat Rich Swann on that day, but I see things differently.
For the better half in the beginning, I had his number. And when everything was going my way, bam!
Catches a kick in the back of the head. I saw it right there. I saw in his eyes, the lights were on, and nobody was home.
Omega, move the referee into harm's way!
Over here said, hell no! Calling it right down the middle.
Swann misses with the Phoenix Splash Feed! Trigger! Omega has Swann in the electric chair! Oh, one-winged angel! One-winged angel!
What we just saw is history, and what we're seeing is the Impact Unified title walking out the door.
What went through my mind when Kenny Omega won the Impact World title? Oh,
okay, now we have somebody that doesn't actually work here as the champion.
the most interesting thing to me is I was here in the building witnessing a piece of wrestling history. This has never happened to separate companies, televised companies, competing for viewerships, where the world title and the company I was wrestling in is now being held by a man that competes and works for another company.
A guy from another company comes in, goes right to the front of a line and embarrasses us. He doesn't give a damn about our championship. Hell, he might not even give a damn about his own company. And we're gonna let a guy like this walk in and take what he wants when there's guys like me, there's guys like Eddie Edwards, there's guys like Rich Swann who have bled and damn near died for this company.
He's our champion. Do I feel happy about that? No.
I knew the trickle-down effect would have so many ramifications, and if you look at it, it's all come true.
What you got is a bunch of whiners, a bunch of self-entitled punks who can't get the job done. I am so sorry that the Booker man, the Golden Booker, couldn't make your dream come true. I gave you your dream match with the god of pro wrestling. It's not our fault that they all come up short, Kenny.
They call him the best bout machine, and they call him the best bout machine for a reason, because just like us in the tag team division, he is a ruler of the world, to borrow a phrase from the great Sid Udi.
Amen.
He is a master and ruler of the world. Every continent that he has been to, just like the Young Bucks, just like the Good Brothers.
Yeah.
There is championship gold that reigns over Kenny Omega. Rich Swann, you're a great competitor. Kenny Omega's in a class of his own.
That's a weight lifted off my shoulders. All the naysayers, all the people that thought I'm here just to simply bury the competition. It has nothing to do with building competition, helping competition, or even burying competition. It's all about building my legacy.
After that fateful match ended at Rebellion, the Impact roster beheld an unthinkable sight. A champion from another company holding their most prized possession high above his head, live for all the world to see. This seismic event changed the landscape in Impact Wrestling. How would the Impact roster react and move forward? Only time would tell.
Whether you like each other, whether you hate each other. This is the time for the Impact roster to band together, because if we don't have that world championship, then what are we fighting for?
Kenny Omega holding the Impact World title, it doesn't change anything for me. Impact is the company that I work for, that I represent, but that forbidden door is open. There's no saying of Eric Young or Violent by Design showing up at AEW and taking what's ours. That to me is compelling.
I am not willing to work with anybody on this roster to do what I could rightfully do myself, which is bringing the Impact World Championship back to Impact Wrestling.
Right now is a very unique and exciting time for Impact Wrestling. Having Kenny Omega as our world's champion brings some unbelievable upsides to it with his notoriety, his fame, and the tremendous matches that he delivers in and out of the ring. And having him contractually obligated to make the appearances of a world champion in many ways is a big win for Impact Wrestling. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I wasn't sort of excited and proud about this swell of emotion and this rising feeling within the locker room that there needs to be a binding together in order to bring the Impact World's Champion back to a true homegrown Impact talent. And I think that's gonna make for a lot of great competition.
I have seen these coexisting relationships between companies. At first, they always were. And then there's always a divide. The divide has always happened because of what? Egos, power, money. The divide here happened because of Don Callis.
Everything about Don Callis doesn't surprise me. I tried to warn y'all about Don years ago, and no one wanted to listen. I was the bad guy in this. Nah, I knew since day one the type of trash Don Callis was. He didn't care about us. He didn't care about Impact Wrestling. The only thing Don Callis cares about is Don Callis. And the fact he was able to walk into this company and become EVP shows exactly how manipulative he can be. Don Callis is a piece of
I think, unfortunately, what so many people try to do is they try to quantify something that's unquantifiable. The bond that we have isn't I do this for him, he does this for me. We're next level consciousness. Our bond is spiritual, it's family, it's blood, and that's one of the reasons it works. That's why marriages, that's why business relationships don't work, because then people get jealous. Look at Scott D'Amore. Oh, jealous of me. Why? Because I'm the guy with the big ideas. Yep.
Don Callis is a genius when it comes to professional wrestling. He's an excellent in-ring performer. He's very, very good at commentary. And Don Callis is great at making people believe he's a lot better at his job than he really is.
Don Callis likes to talk about how he plans steps ahead, days ahead, weeks ahead, months ahead, years ahead. And in many ways, it's true. And Don is a tremendous asset to Kenny Omega. Kenny is one of the most talented athletes in the world. Don is one of the best minds and one of the best strategists. Together, Don Callis and Kenny Omega make a near unstoppable team.
June 19th, 2002, live from the Von Braun Center in Huntsville, Alabama, TNA Wrestling was born.
It's all about total non-stop action. Tonight, a very special evening. It's an evening that revolves around history.
With the closing of World Championship Wrestling, the lofty goal of TNA Wrestling was to become the new alternate brand in sports entertainment. Stars of generations past, present, and future all came together and formed a uniquely new synergy.
My first memory of TNA was rushing inside at 8 o'clock on June 19, 2002 to check out the first Wednesday night pay-per-view. And I remember seeing Low-Key, AJ Styles, and Jerry Lynn come out to the ring for the very first match against the Flying Elvises, and just the sight of Low-Key and AJ Styles and just like what they presented in the ring immediately in that first match changed everything for me on what I thought wrestling could be. I had seen cruiserweights and other promotions before that for years prior. But like the stuff they were doing revolutionized this business for years to come, and you're seeing it today.
It wasn't guys that came in from another company. It wasn't guys that were using TNA to get themselves over. It was the guys that built that company. Guys like AJ Styles, guys like Christopher Daniels, guys like Samoa Joe. When you get into professional wrestling, everyone's dreams to go up north. That was never my dream. My dream was becoming a Impact Wrestling, a TNA wrestling star.
I was breaking into the business. I was a rookie in the year 2002, and that is the year that TNA was formed. So I looked at it as a huge opportunity. I saw a lot of up-and-coming great stars, a lot of veteran, big names from the wrestling business making the jump. Every time there was a new TV deal or some more comeuppance, I thought it was a cool thing.
It was something that gave people an alternative, something that I know in my younger days, it was an inspiration. You had the X Division, something completely different. It wasn't about weight limits, it was about no limits. You had guys like Amazing Red, AJ Styles, Low Key, Sanjay Dutt, making a difference for guys like me.
My go-tos were always X Division guys. I knew the second that this X Division logo popped up on the screen, I knew I was gonna get exactly what I wanted to see, and I want to see badass pro wrestling.
Scott D'Amore was driving down there. They had just started, and we're trying to, bust into that business of TNA. It was something new, something special, something, you've never seen before on TV.
I first started talking to Jeff Jarrett about joining TNA Wrestling when we were on a tour of Europe in late 2002. I was working with a company, the World Wrestling All-Stars, and Jeff was over there as a talent, and I think he kind of saw what I was doing, working behind the scenes and everything, and started asking questions. We just sort of started up a conversation that went from there, and I said, I got a young guy I'd love you to take a look at. I think he could be a great talent, and we chatted about that. I brought the kid down, and worked out for that kid because it's Chris Sabin, and I think it worked out for me because I'm standing here now as Executive Vice President.
April of 2003, somehow I ended up in the main event for my very first match in TNA. And I got to be in there with some wrestlers that I grew up watching, Elix Skipper, Christopher Daniels, the Amazing Red. And it was just very nerve-wracking. I was very nervous coming here, and my apparently main event spot was a tryout match, but I guess it was good enough to get me hired.
I knew TNA would be a player in the industry literally since day one. Why? Because I was told by my boss I had to watch the Wednesday shows every Thursday when I worked in WWE Talent Relations. So they had gotten themselves on the radar.
People ask me all the time why I love Impact Wrestling so much. It's because of the moments. I remember being a high school kid, a junior, getting all my friends together, getting in a car, and driving down to the Asylum in Nashville. Because we wanted to be a part of TNA Wrestling.
And there has been moments where you literally would see the momentum shift.
And here they come! You into the crowd! You want to talk history? Teaming for the first time ever! Sting and Jeff Jarrett! Sting is back! His first U.S. match in well over 2 years, and here we go!
Well, I'll tell you what, AJ Styles, you've just been introduced to Sting!
Personally, as a wrestling fan, Sting coming in was monumental. The second Sting showed up, it just legitimized the entire company because Sting was so synonymous with being the top guy in WCW before they shut down. So for him to come to TNA rather than to go anywhere else, it just put a stamp of approval on TNA that this place was somewhere to watch.
People talk about legends, people talk about icons. When you talk about somebody like Sting, he's a guy who has been around the block. He's seen everything there is to see in this industry. And when he came to TNA Wrestling, the world was flipped.
One of the individuals that really, to me, was a difference maker in cementing TNA as a legitimate company was Christian Cage. When he made the decision to leave WWE, when he made the decision to walk away from the 800-pound gorilla, the biggest company in the world, to come here, well, I think that was a real moment that showed fans and also showed people in the industry that we were really a place to come and be.
Christian Cage coming to TNA was, I think, maybe the most important move that put us on the map, because Christian was offered a massive contract by the other company. And he turned that down because he wanted to do his own thing. And he believed in what was going on here. He believed in the roster. He bet on himself. I think he's one of the best to ever do it. Bell to bell, I don't think there's many people that have ever been on the level of him. And him choosing to come here made us a real option.
It changed the game because it showed that it didn't matter what company you worked for, that TNA now is a viable option for people to jump ship.
It's not long enough, unfortunately, to go anywhere.
General Mattress call, what is it?
We use it while we're here.
In the professional wrestling industry, it is very, very hard to keep a secret.
Yeah, I know what you want. You want me to look down, look up, right? Maybe I take the hood off.
Nowadays, it's extremely rare for someone to be a secret in professional wrestling. And like I always say, life is about the moments.
He is the former world heavyweight champion, an Olympic gold medalist, and arguably the greatest wrestler in the industry today. Kurt Angle is coming to TNA.
It's real. It's damn real.
Oh my God!
You got to be kidding me!
Holy Christ!
That's freaking unbelievable, folks!
I don't believe it! Kurt Angle's coming to TNA!
No freaking way!
My God!
Listen to this crowd! Kurt Angle! Yeah!
The debut of Kurt Angle was one of the rarities in professional wrestling, where I don't think there was a single person outside of the very small group that was in on it that was aware that was happening.
And at the end of the pay-per-view, all that pops up is this guy in a hood, pops the hood off, and he says, "It's real, it's damn real." And it was Kurt Angle's arrival to TNA. Much like Sting, it was just another big step forward, a leap forward into legitimizing this company as the place to be for free agents and everything else. It was a company on the rise, and Kurt Angle being the pound-for-pound greatest wrestler in the world at that time, you know, that speaks for itself.
But can you believe it? Kurt Angle's in the impact zone!
Listen to this crowd! Absolutely going nuts!
They're nose to nose! My God, it's Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle!
Listen to this crowd!
Oh my God, Kurt Angle just headbutted Samoa Joe! Olympic slam! Olympic slam by Angle on Samoa Joe!
I can remember being in the building and that music played, and he came on the stage and the lights came up and the crowd, understanding it's not 20,000, but it sure sounded like it.
I remember the headbutt heard around the world with him and Joe, and I think that it was cool seeing him stand in a TNA ring, because that was another guy that you just didn't think was ever going to leave the cuddling arms of Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
That moment changed Impact forever.
It's Kurt Angle. I mean, a Hall of Famer, an Olympic gold medalist, and him jumping ship was so enormous.
I'm just a void of life, mechanical parts inside, but you make them move.
My number one fondest dream of TNA was the day I signed my first full-time contract. And that was in 2004, part of Team Canada, sitting there with my best friends, Johnny Devine, Petey Williams, Bobby Roode. They handed us our contracts. None of us read them. We just flipped to the last page, put a date on it, put our signatures on it, and went back to work. I would put that group against anybody talent-wise. You know, that's spanned almost 2 decades, and most of us are still getting it done today.
One of my biggest inspirations, one of the guys that, and this is me being 100% real right now, that helped me more than a lot of people should, was Abyss. He's like my big brother. He's the guy I met one of my first days in professional wrestling, and it didn't matter that he was on television. He treated me with respect because I treated him with respect, and he knew I loved professional wrestling.
It's personal bias, obviously, but my favorite, high-flying X-Division star was Sanjay Dutt. Sanjay Dutt, there was something about him, the way he presented, everything he did, the way it looked, you know, he just seemed like a flag bearer or like a trendsetter for that kind of style.
Amazing Red, as I've said before, he was just such a trendsetter, a guy that I looked up to He's very similar in size and stature, and he was somebody that I would see on my television screens and be like, damn, I can do this.
Motor City Machine Guns,
Sure.
America's Most Wanted, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian.
Yeah.
The Triple X days, the Main Event Mafia, Kurt Angle coming in 2006 was a big deal. LAX, Samoa Joe changed the game. A lot of talent went through here, man.
The camaraderie of this company is special. I've worked in other places, and I can tell you that that form of camaraderie at this level does not exist in other places.
Impact Wrestling is and always will be a huge part of the story of my life. This company has meant so much to me throughout the years.
It was almost like a brotherhood. We were just all fighting and working for the same goal. This is my life.
Impact Wrestling has always had this ability to create stars, and no matter what happens, no matter who leaves, that star-making machine continues to spit out new stars for the industry.
April 15th, 2020, just over 1 year ago, numerous superstars were released from their contracts in another promotion. It was considered Black Wednesday by many, a dark day for the athletes as well as the industry. But out of darkness came light and opportunity. Impact Wrestling seized on the chance to add talented stars to its already incredible roster. The stars had aligned, and it became a question of not just who would show up at Slammiversary 1 year ago, but how many. On July 18th, 2020, our world changed forever.
The eyes of the wrestling world remain glued to Impact Wrestling. And tonight, well, get your popcorn ready, because we're gonna put on a spectacle. Welcome everyone to Slammiversary.
Slammiversary of last year, I think, really solidified this company as being a legitimate alternative. Not that it wasn't before that, but I think in the eyes of most, even casual viewers, understood that something was going on. You know, there was this real buzz. And I think there was a buzz of like, will those guys show up? You know, like, you know, can they make this happen? Can Impact bring this talent, you know, all of these different talents into this company and do something?
For last year's Slammiversary, our marketing campaign was Our World Changes. And I think that we delivered that.
As a fan of professional wrestling, what do we always like? The surprise factor.
What is this? Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, the Motor City Machine Guns are back!
Last year's Slammiversary will always be near and dear to my heart. This was my first match back after my third knee surgery, and I got to do it with one of my best friends, Alex Shelley, as the Motor City Machine Guns, and it was just special.
It's Eric Young! The world-class maniac is back!
This weird euphoric feeling of coming home. I'm a big believer in fate, and I knew in that moment that it was exactly where I was supposed to be.
The Good Brothers are here! And they're gonna make their impact on Slammiversary!
You can never take away the fact that we debuted to such buzz in the middle of a worldwide pandemic.
This is a shoot. That buy rate paid our massive contracts for year one at Impact.
Put a lot of smiles on
Point proven.
This is an elite place for free agents to come and show that they want to be a part of Impact Wrestling because they know it's on the rise.
We changed people's perception of Impact Wrestling.
There's no other way for me to say it, so I'm just going to say it. It was kind of a you to everybody that doubted me.
I think we really did serve everybody on notice that Impact Wrestling was back and Impact Wrestling was on the rise. And I think the unbelievable year we've had since then proves that we've changed our world. And here, as we get ready for Slammiversary 2021, our world's about to change again.
They say lightning never strikes twice in the same place, but this past April, it apparently did. Several more superstars from that same promotion were released from their contracts. And if last year's Slammiversary proved anything, it is to expect the unexpected. This Saturday at Slammiversary, prepare for our world to change yet again.
It literally was 1 year when a lot of talents were let go from their dream jobs. And a lot of those talents also realize, hey, this wasn't maybe my dream. And around that same buzz is the same buzz that Slammiversary is getting. Oh, who's Impact Wrestling gonna bring in? We have literally a mystery opponent announced for Deonna Purrazzo and the Knockouts World title. Think of that buzz. Someone new is going to step foot on this playing field. Right then and there, I'm sold.
You never know what will happen. You never know who might show up, and this year it is no different.
There's another crop of amazing talent out there that now has the opportunity to either take this and let it push them down and put them down there and depressed, or they can rise up and they can make a bigger, better version of themselves. We don't look at a talent and tell them who they are or who they're going to be. We work with that talent to find who they are. We help develop what's inside them. We let them be a part of the process. We don't hand them what to say or tell them what to do. We work with them. We're collaborative with them. We're not people here that are sitting there and going to draw up everything and tell people what plays they're gonna run. We work with the talent in developing the best persona for them. We coach the talent on how to do the best that they possibly can with their skill set in the ring. And we have an open and collaborative and creative environment where I think it gives talent that is sometimes stifled an opportunity to find themselves and thrive.
When you leave that system, at times you're a fractured soul. And I've seen it in so many people. I've seen it in Bobby Lashley. I've seen it in Drew McIntyre. I've seen it in Deonna Purrazzo. The list goes on and on for these talents who are so unsure. Brian Myers, Matt Cardona. Because you feel like you've been oppressed, you feel like you've been put down for so long.
If there's one thing that Impact Wrestling has shown in its 19-year history, is if you come here, this is a place that will help you find the best you. Impact Wrestling is a place where you can come, you can develop your skills in the ring and outside it. Impact Wrestling is the type of company that takes raw talent and turns it into superstars.
Kenny Omega is a generational talent. He is known as the best bout machine, the belt collector, the god of professional wrestling. Could we be witnessing the rise of a new Renaissance man in the sport? A modern-day Ric Flair or Bruno Sammartino? It is no secret Kenny Omega is not afraid of the moment and shines brightest in the brightest of spotlights. And it is no secret that with Don Callis by his side, he will do anything to seize that moment and continue to build upon his already historic legacy.
Bell to bell right now is probably the #1 in-ring performer in this industry.
You're talking about a guy, you can compare him to an Eddie Guerrero as somebody who could do anything as far as be entertaining, as far as be the very best inside the ropes, carry himself like a superstar, be the personification of what it is to be a top guy in our business. Kenny Omega embodies every single one of those traits.
He checks every box, every attribute. He is 99 out of 100. Speed, strength, skill, tenacity, whatever. Kenny Omega is one of the most elite, put-together wrestlers of all time, no pun intended.
One thing always happens with Kenny. When he gets in the ring, he turns into the best wrestler in the world. And when you get in the ring with the best wrestler in the world, you better be on your A game.
Personally, I think he's an arrogant prick. I think he's a prima donna as a professional. I think Kenny Omega is one of the most unstoppable human beings ever that can step in between those ropes.
Kenny Omega just has an unbelievable resume. The matches this guy has had over in Japan, in the United States, he's solidified his spot as a legendary wrestler.
In my opinion, Kenny Omega is a once-in-a-generation talent, and Kenny Omega is deservedly the world's champion for multiple companies. He's one of the very best I've ever seen, and he truly is a wrestling savant. Between those 4 posts and the confines of those ropes, Kenny Omega is one of the very best that has ever competed in this sport.
You can watch Kenny Omega's emergence from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then what he's done in AEW, and then what he's done in Impact Wrestling. He always comes in and steals the show. He has this insane quality about him. And when you think he's become the greatest wrestler, and I've watched him have perfect wrestling matches, then he goes on and he'll cut this amazing promo that I'm literally watching it and I'm loving it. Or I'm watching Kenny cut this promo and I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but yet I'm still entertained because he's Kenny Omega.
I do believe that he's a chess player, not a checker player. He wants everyone to know that he's the best, and he's willing to put himself out there and put him on the line. And I feel the strong majority of professional wrestling fans, if they're being honest with themselves, he is the best.
Sami Callihan, on the other hand, is a worldwide desperado, the Callihan Death Machine. The self-proclaimed draw is a vicious and vile human being, and proudly so. His past has proven that. He relishes this reputation. But he too is a uniquely skilled athlete and master of the games of the mind. There are no limits to what he will do to achieve whatever his sick, sadistic mind sets out to accomplish.
Sami Callihan, somebody that I've known since I was 17 years old. This is somebody that I've seen go through the worst punishment and get back up, have a smile on his face and beg for more. Sami Callihan is one of the most ruthless, maniacal human beings that I've ever stepped into the ring with and that I've ever known personally in life.
Sami Callihan is a guy I respect greatly. Sami Callihan is a professional. Sami Callihan is a crazy person. Sami Callihan is a professional wrestler. This guy lives it, breathes it, thinks about it. I would imagine that he probably would say that professional wrestling haunts him. That's what drives Sami Callihan. It's not about fortune. It's not about fame. It's about legacy. It's about respect for wrestling. It's about gaining respect from wrestlers.
Sami Callihan is a unique individual. If you were gonna sit there and you were gonna pick who the greatest competitors were gonna be, if you're gonna choose based off of sheer athletic ability, then Sami Callihan probably wouldn't make anyone's list. But when you talk about heart, determination, and just a almost obsessive drive to succeed, that's what brings you to a guy like Sami Callihan.
Unpredictability, loose cannon, wild card, dare I say, and let's be honest, dangerous. He's a tough guy. He's a tough kid. He came up the right way, but again, you're barking up the wrong damn tree.
He's no slouch as a professional wrestler in that ring, and I think he's the only one that needs to be reminded of that. He's going to do whatever it takes to survive and thrive.
I do not think Kenny Omega realizes how great of a performer Sami Callihan is. Here's the difference between Sami Callihan and Kenny Omega. In the ring, moves. Sami can match Kenny move for move, innovation for innovation. I don't think Kenny has that killer instinct. Sami Callihan took a baseball bat to another man's face, broke that man's orbital bone, and could care less about it. Sami Callihan is one of the most dangerous men in professional wrestling.
Sami Callihan should have been sent off to the salt mines in Siberia a long time ago. Sami Callihan should be living behind a fence because he's insane. And somehow he's able to pull a check in the wrestling business despite the fact that he keeps screwing up, stepping on his own and hurting people. But it's okay, because Scott D'Amore's in desperation mode. We need to get the title back from Kenny Omega. We've tried the best athletes. We've tried the biggest athletes. Now let's try a homicidal freak show in Sami Callihan. I'm embarrassed that anyone ever called us the Golden Bookers, because you're just a sick son of a bitch, D'Amore. And the only thing sicker than you is that degenerate piece of Sami Callihan.
A lot of people like to say Kenny Omega is one of the best wrestlers in the world. But do you think I give a damn what Dave Meltzer rates his matches? Do you think I give a damn what people say about him on the internet? The only thing I care about is professional wrestling. I love professional wrestling. I look into Kenny's eyes and I know it's not the same. Kenny sees this as a business. Kenny sees this, how much money I can make. Kenny sees this, what can I take from professional wrestling? And that is everything that is wrong with this business. Love me or hate me, I am professional wrestling. I love professional wrestling. And at the end of the day, I do not give a damn who is in the ring with me. If you disrespect the business I love, you have a date with the death machine.
What I'm prepared to do is anything it takes to ensure the legacy and the greatness of this man.
I'm concerned about what's going on with Kenny and Don being here.
You won't know when, you won't know where, but I'm coming for what's mine. Kenny Omega doesn't want to get in the ring with the death machine because he's afraid of being exposed for the fraud he is. I think Kenny Omega's starting to worry. He's tried to intimidate me, but you can't intimidate the death machine. You've seen what I've done around the world. He doesn't know what to do. He has never been in the ring with a guy like me, and that truly scares me.
I'm not sure that Kenny Omega realizes exactly what he's going to be dealing with Sami Callihan, but I know Don Callis does.
No good brothers, no Sami Callihan. We've got a one-on-one world championship match.
Wait a minute, the Young Bucks.
What the hell? He can hit the one-winged angel with two guys helping him.
Oh my God.
What did
Legs go out.
Yes! No.
Callihan! Wait. Sami, I'm talking to you, you piece of garbage. You're fired!
I'm simply doing something that should have been done a long time ago. I mean, Sami Callihan has had many fireable offenses. I mean, if you went into your corporate job at, say, a law firm, and you went in and you attacked the senior partner and cut his head open, what would happen? Well, you'd be fired and put in jail. Not in Impact Wrestling, apparently. In Impact Wrestling, that person goes to one of the executives, Scott D'Amore, and says, hey, I just butchered someone that works here. And you know what Scott D'Amore says? Good job. You should have a title shot. What a joke. What is this anyway? What is this HR department at Impact Wrestling? What a joke. It's a joke.
Don Callis fired Sami at Against All Odds, and now the Anthem board is sending somebody down here to address this situation.
Don Callis, Kenny Omega, get your bitch asses out here right now!
For once, I'm on your side. What you're doing right now, you're not helping your case, Sami.
Did he not just prove the point that I've been saying?
Did you not overstep your bounds this past weekend?
Maybe I did. But you know why? I did it for you.
For me? You did it for Kenny Omega!
Tommy's a pathetic stooge.
Scott, I'm the person Anthem has sent. First of all, Sami Callihan is not fired. Sami Callihan has been reinstated. Personal relationships and personal friendships have been put in front of Impact Wrestling business, effective immediately. Don Callis, you are fired from Impact Wrestling.
Really? The guy who delivered you the biggest pay-per-view event in your history.
I'm the only one who does what needs to be done around here.
The guy who delivered you the greatest wrestler in the history of the business. You want to fire me? I'm already fired.
I have to tell you what I hate about professional wrestling. It's people putting their own goals instead of the company's.
I want to run this wrestling company. I'm Tommy Dreamer, the innovator of violence, and I'll run this company into the ground with my ridiculous booking ideas. It's a power play.
And when Tommy delivered the message that Don Callis was fired, I'll be honest, I was a little relieved, because it was him, not me.
It's a big night here for Impact Wrestling. Big contract signing, a lot of great things happen. I hope everyone makes it.
I hope so too. We got an arrest warrant for you.
I did nothing, mister.
I got an arrest warrant for assault and battery on one Mr. Don Callis.
You gotta be kidding.
You gotta go.
Do not.
Hey!
I can fix all of this for you. I can fix it. Sam. Oh, God.
I'm sorry. I hope you're going to be okay. There is going to be that main event at Slammiversary, so I'll see you and Kenny in the ring. I'll see you there. He can sign the contract, and we'll just take it. Just humor me on this.
But I think that we should really talk about this.
Omega out here without Callihan because Callihan has been incarcerated.
Oh, God!
Is that okay? Is that okay?
Sorry.
What the hell?
Someone has doctored the footage.
Callihan's here!
It's Sami Callihan with a baseball bat! And Omega from behind! Omega was gonna pile drive Callihan and Sami Callihan with a low blow! Oh! After the pile driver, Callihan makes it official. Kenny Omega through the table! Callis tried to have Callihan arrested. It was a hoax. It was a ploy. What's gonna happen at Slammiversary? Is Sami Callihan truly the hero that Impact Wrestling needs?
Kenny, you think you're tough, don't you? You think you can get extreme? I started a little barbed wire match with John Moxley. Oh, how cute. I ain't John Moxley. I've bled buckets around the world and things you couldn't even dream of.
You're going to see the very best professional wrestler in the entire world, in Kenny Omega, and you're gonna see a completely crazed, obsessed lunatic who is the best at what he does in Sami Callihan. And they're gonna square off in a situation where there can only be one winner. No DQ, no way to win this match other than pinfall or submission. And one man's gonna walk out Slammiversary undisputedly the Impact World's Champion.
Look, when it's a wrestling match and we're confined by the rules of said professional wrestling match, there is no one area, aside from your own lunacy, that you have over me, Sami. And no matter how crazy you are, how dangerous you are, how reckless you are, none of those things allow you to kick out of the most devastating move in professional wrestling, the one-winged angel. I can guarantee you, I bet my entire career, I bet all of my belts, there's no way you're kicking out.
Hey, Kenny, I want you to look me in my eyes and really hear every word I'm about to say. All Dave Meltzer star ratings ain't gonna be able to save you from what's about to happen at Slammiversary. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to embarrass you and expose you for the fraud you really are. Then, after I become Impact Wrestling World Champion once again, I'm going to bash your head in.